Well, I think firstly the parents love coming, and everybody likes seeing their kids on the stage, so long as they're not too pushy as parents. And then of course there's a sort of vulnerability. It's very sweet, particularly the 8-9-year-olds that we have in our show. It's quite sweet seeing them up there doing their thing and particularly kicking the show off, which is a massive responsibility. They're the very first characters we see in South Pacific, so there's a lovely sort of warmth there that gets the show going from the outset. And then also they play such a crucial part in the storytelling, even though they're not on for very long. They play a major part in the way that the show works. So it's lovely. I think all of those shows, you know, I mean, with Annie and Oliver and things like that, they're on a lot longer than we have in South Pacific, but they're still important. It's always about an energy. There's a nice, you know, you don't expect them to be word perfect yet, and although most of them are because they've been drilled at home or at their clubs that they belong to. But most of them, they need to have an energy there that's sort of just got something that says I'm not going to be scared, and I love being on stage, or even if they haven't been on stage before, which for me isn't a problem. Just that it shows something, that there's a sense of awareness and spatial awareness, and then of course having the talent to be able to sing and act and dance, even though they may not know they have talent. It's often as well that you're looking at children that are too big and too perfect. It's nice to have kids that are really really sort of on it, but not too on it, you know, because otherwise the truth starts to go a little bit if they're all a bit stage school. So I try and avoid that. You're as good as Melbourne and Sydney so far. All good, all good. I mean, we haven't picked the final choices yet, but we've seen the kids and they're fantastic. So it's good. Oh, it's a hard question. I mean, every time you go into a room, I mean, this is the 4th time we've done South Pacific with a brand new, purely Australian cast. It's the first time that's happened for us here, and that brings a whole new dynamic to the show, even though we know how the show goes. So I mean, even one show is different the number of times you do it. It's the same production, but it has a very different flavour. And certainly the company over here for Australia are incredibly energised and hugely talented. In fact, we've all the creative team have said that this is the best company we've ever had on the show, and that was proved when the Rodgers and Hammerstein estate allowed us to make a video of the show, a DVD of the show, which we haven't been able to do on any of the other things. So I mean, it's very special, this company. But in terms of all the shows, you know, there's different dynamics. You know, Legally Blonde is quite pink and camp. South Pacific has this sort of older school musical theatre background, you know, as a piece. So yeah, they're all very different, but you know, it's what we do. We love the challenge, and they're all so thrilling, and it's a privilege to work on them. Doesn't matter what they are. It's good. What do people love about it? Well, the songs are really wonderful. I mean, every time when you're watching, and you know, I get to see a lot of the performances. You see the audience sort of go, oh, this is in it, you know, Nothing Like a Dame is in it, or Some Enchanted Evening is in it, and Watch That Man is in it, Up and Now Bally High's in it, and you just see them all keep, you know, every time a song comes up, they know these songs, and they've sort of been ingrained in our brain. If we love musical theatre, they've been ingrained in our brain for ages. And I think also because it's about challenge. You know, we all, even though it was written 60 odd years ago, you know, it's about prejudice, prejudice about race, prejudice about marriage, prejudice about different backgrounds. And all of those prejudices are challenged, and I think, you know, that's universal, whether it was 60 years ago or whether it's now. We all come to terms with obstacles in our life, and you know, the show allows us to see our characters overcome all of these obstacles, or in some cases not overcome them, which is equally, you know, interesting. So I think it's about overcoming challenges, yeah, and that's Rodgers and Hammerstein in all of their musicals. Although now we see them as old-fashioned musicals, they were at the forefront of musical theatre writing, and really changed the path musical theatre went. So it's, you know, they're very important pieces, you know, and South Pacific's up there with the best. Well, as I say, I think it is. I think it does relate to a lot of people, but also it's classic. You know, it's up there with these classic musicals. You know, Guys and Dolls is one. You know, the West Side Story. It's up there with those greats, and it is for everybody. You know, I'm thrilled that the audiences we play to all around the world have not just been old people who remember seeing it in 1960 something. You know, it's there's young kids going. There's parents, there's families going, so it's a very important, you know, it's an important musical, because not many musicals can do that nowadays. I just think it's their energy and the fact that they're great on their responses. You know, it's really exciting to have an audience that responds well to the cast, and particularly in a show like South Pacific, where although it's got its serious romantic love stories going on, it's also very funny. It's a very funny show with the characters of Billis and Bloody Mary, and it's great to get that reaction from an audience, and the Brisbane audiences are terrific at that, I've found.